They had to carry me. I couldn't walk. And they kind of like, and we would stumble over the Green Berets, Rangers. It was a hodgepodge. Let me tell you something. When them guys showed up to rescue me, when they found me, I was laying in a riverbed, dried up, tucked under a rock. The villagers had shoved me underneath this rock. And there was this one guy I had never met before. And he was sitting there listening to a AM/FM radio. And he was scrolling through the channels. We hand those. And he was listening to the different channels, and I could recognize the different languages, German, Japanese. And he was like, hey, they're talking about you. And I was like, okay. I didn't know who he was. He was kind of messing with me a little bit. Because I couldn't move, and he had this stinging. Anyway, it's not important. And then the Gulag and a couple of the villagers came and picked me up. They had to carry me everywhere. And
why did they save you? Because in the movie, it's confusing.
It is.
Because in the movie, it's like these guys save you, and you don't know why they're saving you.
When he found me,
they have to fight the Taliban.
Yeah, can you believe that?
Crazy.
So I had been crawling for a day and some change. I was like crawling through the mountains, and I had somehow, some way got to the top of this ridge line. I was so thirsty.
All right.
I mean, there's an insanity that goes with thirst. I was so thirsty that I was willing to kill anything to get water. I mean, you can't even believe it. I was drinking my own urine, my own blood. Nothing would quench the thirst. God, I hadn't thought about this in a while. And I got to the top of this ridge line, and there was a waterfall. And I was trying to slide down into it. I was like, I'm just going to go down in here, and I'm going to hit that water and get something to drink. So I tried to slide down. I just took off.
Oh, I got
uncontrollably. I started sliding. I rotated upside down. And I remember looking over, and my rifle was sliding aside.
Let me try this. I like Diablo.
I couldn't throw that thing away. It's like every time I'd lose it, one of my boys was like, hey, you're going to need this. And I flipped upside down, over backwards, into the river. And I remember my knees hit me in the face, and it knocked me out again. And I was kind of, I was a blobbering mess. Everything was broken. And I rolled over, and I remember kind of sitting on all fours. I picked my head up, and I looked up, and there was that water fountain there. And I remember sliding down. This is the craziest thing. God, I hadn't thought about this. And I remember seeing this little pool of water, and I was like, oh, that'd be a great place to get something to drink. So I crawled back up into this thing, and I leaned into that waterfall, and I remember washing my face and hands. My gloves were, I had gloves on, the mechanic gloves, and all the fingers were ripped out, and the palms were ripped out. So I just kind of, and it was the best thing I ever had.
I'll have a weapon.
I'll never forget it. It's cold. And I was hurting real bad. And I remember hearing somebody screaming at me.
I left the server.
I kind of turned around over my shoulder. There was a guy standing there looking at me, pointing at me. He was like, Taliban, Taliban. So I swung around with my rifle, and then all of a sudden, behind me again, I could hear someone screaming. And I look up, and there's this guy standing on the hill that I'd just fallen off of. But he didn't have a weapon. He was just pointing at me. And then there were some guys on the ridgeline moving around. They had weapons. So I turned back around, and I kind of started to crawl. I was like, man, I was in a channelized area. It was kind of bad. And I remember I was leaning against this rock. I was sitting on my blood. I had my rifle, man. I couldn't breathe. I'd bitten my tongue in half, and I was like, that's a crazy story. But the guy screamed at me again. I turned around to shoot, and he saw me. And he ducked behind this rock. And then, right over my left shoulder, probably 30 yards, not even that. I hear, American. And I kind of turned around, and it was Gulag, one of the main villagers who rescued me.
Oh, splash damage.
And I turned around on him. I had my gun at my hip. My safety was off. My tension was out of my trigger. And he was kind of looking. We were staring each other straight in the eyes. And I was like death. You know how you can smell death when it's there? I was like, man, okay, let's go. And God, I don't know why I didn't kill him. I didn't have to even go to my shoulder to kill him. I had the tension out of my trigger. I was just sitting there looking at him. He was looking at me, and he wouldn't say it. He said American a couple times, and then he said it again. I was like, Taliban? And he was like, American? And then he kind of put his hands up, and I came off my trigger. I don't know why I didn't kill him.
9 to 10,
And he started walking down on me. He's like,
Oh,
okay,
never
okay,
mind,
okay,
that's the
okay.
durability.
Shampoo, hydrate, shampoo,
That's
hydrate. That's what he's telling me.
damage.
Shampoo, hydrate.
Shampoo hydrate.
That's what he said. 2 English words he knew. I was like, shampoo, hydrate. You know how good that sounded? I was like, bro, I would love some water, and if you want to wash my hair. It's so funny. So if you ever get into a bad situation and you're about to lose your mind, just say shampoo and hydrate, and you'll be fine, dude. And I'm like, can you believe that? That's what he said to me.
That's crazy.
And I dropped my muzzle down, and he walked up on me, and I pulled a grenade out. I pulled the pin. Don't ever do that. And I was going to, like, if you try something, I'll just kill us all. I don't care. But then he kind of rolled me over, and he was like, it's okay, I got you. You know, I could just tell. You know how when you can tell, like, hey, man, I got you. I freaking got you. You can feel that. Like, you can feel if someone's like, hey, man, I got you, and then I'm going to jack you up later. And this guy was like, man, I got you, man. And I repinned that grenade. I'll never forget. I was like, I heard you're not supposed to do I mean, there's so much crazy stuff. But anyways, all these kids came running out from everywhere, and they picked me up. I couldn't walk, and they carried me down, started carrying me down the ridgeline into the valley. There was a village down there. And then the
Sorry
kids,
for the other
everybody
time
were
you come,
laughing
bro.
and
Something. A
whatnot,
lot of
and they
times
pulled
you
me
join
into
my
this
chat,
room,
I'd be
and
so
they
into the
started kind
game.
of they doctored me up,
I'm just
stopped my
chilling.
breathing, and patched me up, gave me all the water I could drink, and then the Taliban came in after that, and patched me up. But
So how much of what was in the script? I know you didn't see the movie, but how much of what was in the script was in the movie?
every bit of it.
Bro,
Everybody died.
It looks legit.
Like in the
I'm like,
movie when you
wait,
see those
what's
guys
Diablo
falling down
4?
the mountain.
It's
Cool.
doing this Diablo 4
Imagine
now.
going
I
past
see what
schools
Bruce
when
was
it looks
doing.
like chaos.
They gave WoW
Imagine
Classic.
playing
and
your
they keep it
favorite
back
sport
to
on the
regular
side of a
WoW.
mountain
They see the
with
success of that shit.
It didn't look
And
cool.
then they're
I
gonna
was
do
like,
something
it
with
looked
Diablo.
horrific.
And Diablo 2
Sexy.
Master's gonna be
I
like
mean,
Classic.
It
And
was
freaking
terrible.
regular WoW's
I mean,
gonna
like,
be
it's
regular
getting
WoW.
ripped
I mean,
apart. And like, we
Diablo
would
4 is
come
gonna be
in,
the
and the
modern
guys
day
would just be
Diablo. They're gonna make money off of both. I see
like,
what they're
man
doing.
was shot in the face. And it was
Genius.
his eyes were
Yeah, I know,
gone.
right? I can't wait for
I-
either. It's crazy. Diablo 4.
Like,
is
I'm
gonna
a
be nuts.
medic.
Diablo 2 Master's gonna be nuts. They're gonna keep people hooked on both of them shits for years to come.
Some of
If
them
they
were
put
bad.
them out.
Some was bad. But
I'm just turn
then
my sensitivity.
I was
on.
like,
I can't even click on items.
I didn't know what to do. I just started. I never knew what to do. Isn't that crazy? I was like, man, I was well trained. I was like, I got my ass in a pickle. I couldn't get out. I didn't know what to do.
What is this?
And I would just sit
2,
there,
3,
and there'd be times when I would think about my brother and all my buddies. I was like, hey man, you guys are done
That's
sleeping.
solid.
I'm still
I
here.
don't
Come
care.
get me. And then I could see aircraft flying overhead, and I was like, I'm right here.
Actually-
and they would just keep flying. And then someone would try to kill me. Like a wall would blow up, or a bullet would zip through the wall.
Diablo
then
2.
they'd have to
Oh,
move.
and Diablo 3. I played a lot of Diablo 3. I haven't played a
was
lot of
rough.
Diablo 2 since I was a kid. We used to play Diablo 2 on like a
It left me in
and
this
shit.
hole for a
I never
while.
really played on Battle.net.
Buried me.
I was just a broke kid, so we kind of
And,
torrented it and shit. So I bought this as an adult.
like, man, I'm a
couple years
foreign
ago,
man in a
but
foreign
Diablo
land.
3 I
Everybody's
played
dead.
a lot of.
I mean, who
I was
knows where
fucking
I'm at?
barbarian.
I was in
I
hell.
don't even remember what
I was
the
literally in
I was
hell.
up to. I think it was like
And if it wasn't for them,
27. Like I
and
got
that-
decently
and the way
far
that whole
in Diablo
thing
3.
worked out, I
I gotta make a new game. So yeah, Barbarian.
funny when
This
I talk
time I'm
about
playing
it, it's hard
Pally.
to
I used to play Pally when I was a kid,
wrap
but I
your head
never
around
did
it.
it.
Like,
That's
it's
how
in
much.
there. Because y'all came and
I'm gonna
got
try
me.
to go
I
far
couldn't
this
believe it.
time.
I couldn't believe it when y'all showed up. I signed up to be an expendable asset, to die if necessary. That was the sexiest thing I ever heard of. I was nobody. You know, I don't have a special skill. I was an expendable asset, and you work till you become dependable, and they'll kind of keep you around. When y'all showed up, I couldn't believe it.
This thing looks pretty sick. I
couldn't
don't
believe it.
know. I like them already. I like the fact-
I remember
sorry.
talking to you guys, like, man, I can't
know
believe
what
y'all
movie
made it
all
out
the
here.
time.
We were out in the middle
Overboard.
of nowhere. And then,
But,
and then
I do like
the
how
first
you're
time I
bad.
ever got like
Carry.
scared was when
I'm
they
out here
when they
looking
were
for
with me trying to get me out of there. I was like, hey man, I hope y'all can get me out of here. Is that selfish? I was like, I don't hope that's selfish, is it? I was like, I sure would like to live, man. And they threw. I mean, it was a crate to get me out of there. It's a whole different movie altogether. Those Green Berets, and those Rangers,
You know what? I'm gonna go back to town.
PJs,
fucked
the pilots, like
'Cause it's for
Spanky.
some
He was
reason
one of
it
the pilots.
says I
Skinny.
gotta freaking.
When they came in to crash. They don't ever talk about that. Like, he had to crash that bird on the side of the mountain to get in there. And he did it. He didn't give a shit. He's like, watch this. Boom. And just brought it in. I mean, there was a gunfight going on from the top and bottom. Every aircraft we had in country was wagging, like spinning overhead. The Spectres, that's the hand of God. You know, or the finger of God. I mean, the weapon we have, and they can look down on you and erase you. And they got me out.
I don't know why I wasn't
Couldn't
working
believe
last time. Our game already exists for that name.
I hadn't thought about that.
Catch new episodes of the Joe Rogan Experience for free only on Spotify. Watch back catalog JRE videos on Spotify, including clips. Easily, seamlessly switch
1
between
hour, 1
video
minute
and
remaining.
audio experience. On Spotify, you can listen to the
So
JRE
confused.
in the background while
Why can you
using
only
other
play it for
apps
an hour?
and can download episodes to save on data costs, all for free. Spotify is absolutely free. You don't have to have a premium account to watch new JRE episodes. You just need to search for the JRE on your Spotify app. Go to Spotify now
Alright.
to get this full episode of the Joe Rogan Experience.
Alright, see, I haven't done this game in years. What level is my guy?
The Joe Rogan Experience.
What is it
I don't know how
like
to see my
to
character.
have a
There we go,
movie
level 3.
about one of the worst
Alright.
experiences of your life?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you for asking it like that.
Yeah.
No one ever has. It's an honor to do that, to be a part of that. And it's funny because people are like, hey, I made a movie and the books and it was great. I was like, man, it's about me getting my ass whipped. As a fighter and a warrior, those are usually the stories you don't want out.
I want to be like
Right,
the
so I'm in the
healer
lost
because in Project Diablo 2 you can be a healer.
I carry a lot of weight, 19 promises. I never forget it. So I walk around, I always remind myself I could run into somebody who knows or loved one of them or one of their family members. So I'll always carry myself a certain way I have to. That was the deal I made to get me off the
Oh
mountain.
wait, I gotta solve
People
shit.
ask me who my heroes are. Everybody who had to come fetch me out of hell. I was in there pretty deep. And the way that lined out, it's a great story if you want to hear. I mean, the whole process.
I would love to hear it.
It's funny on the way up here. I was like, man, how's this interview going to go? And I was watching Joe Dirt last night. I was like, let's do it like that. You want to start from the beginning? Bro, I'll tell you some stuff you
I'm
can't
glad
believe.
you said let's start it off with whiskey.
Yeah,
As soon as
Hi
you said
there.
that, I'm like, this is going to go great.
Good to see
it
you.
is.
Yeah.
I only drink whiskey with my friends. And you know the reason we say that is because the things that come out when you drink whiskey.
Yeah.
So I've been looking forward to this. We've been friends for a while. I thought we should have a good time with it.
100%. Yeah.
2 to 4.
You know, I
splash
watched the
damage,
movie
2
again
to
last
7.
night. I watched it yesterday just to prepare myself. And
I haven't seen it. I never watched it all the way through. I know the director's cut. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, no. Yeah.
So it was
I can imagine.
it was something to back it up to the book and how that all happened. Or you back it up to the book, or wherever you want to start.
It sells for 30.
We can go all different directions with it, but I was in the hospital. So when I got back, I was in the hospital for a while, and then I went back into the teams and started doing another
Strange
workup
guys
for deployment, and then in between that, I was getting called to the boss's house. I've always
I
been
need that
watched
money,
over on
man.
high ground
I'll
That was
that
a
shit
blessing.
later.
because so many of our guys died, and we had a fallen angel. When you have a fallen angel, y'all always hear about it. Like normally, if SEALs die or something, it's on the bottom of the ticker, or only the family members here. But we had a fallen angel, which means we have an aircraft going down. And I didn't know about it actually
What
when,
kind of weapons?
when the mission started because everyone who knew about our operation was on the helicopter.
Shield discard.
That's why I was
picked
out
up
there
a
for so
shield.
long.
No way.
And I remember I just got out of the hospital and I was doing physical therapy at the team, and they called me up and they said, hey, we're going to declassify part of this operation
Okay, let's get it.
and we're going to put it out into a book. And I was like, okay. I didn't know what that meant. Well, then they pulled me back up to the,
Oh, you
to,
gotta
the to
repair.
the head sheds where we had this big meeting, and they assigned to me I was privileged enough to have the best lawyers, the best writers. Like I interviewed with everybody until I found a fit. Like I got to travel around. Like when Patrick and I met, he came out to the house. My mother fell in love with him. So that's how we knew he was gonna, and I had to live with him. So I would actually wake up on Sunday or Monday morning and go into work, do a workup, fixing to deploy. And then on Fridays, I'd have to fly to Cape Cod, and I would sit with Patrick and tell him the story. And then Sunday night, I'd fly back.
Patrick is the guy you wrote.
Patrick Robinson, yeah.
He's the guy you wrote.
He was, yeah. Because my name wasn't in the book. It wasn't supposed to be anything like that. I was still operational. And then I deployed back to Iraq in 06 and 07. I ripped Jocko out. I know you met him.
Love Jocko,
Great guy.
and he loves you.
Man, he was my one of my bosses.
He got so excited when he heard you were coming on. He texted me and we went back and forth.
He's something. I called him. He's just what you see is what you get.
He's
you
a
ever notice
national-
his face looks like it could perfectly fit in a Spartan helmet?
Yes.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Like he's always. I mean, he's the when
Yeah.
it comes to leadership.
Break glass
That's
in
it.
case of war.
We have those guys.
Yes.
They're
Yes.
real. I know you
They-
met some of them.
Yeah, we need those guys.
Alright.
They exist. They're
Yes.
terrifying.
I'm so
Let's
happy
go to
they're
Den
real.
Evil
Yeah,
again.
they're real.
Yeah, and Jocko is he's the
We
archetype.
found something better
Yep.
than this. I like Joe, but this
there-
guy's
he was-
kind of.
there was a reason why he was over Chris
Story before, but I don't know
And,
about this.
Michael
guy.
and Mark.
Might make some
If you
fries
notice in
for
the
me,
SEAL
though, this
teams, all of our
stream.
Medal of Honor guys are named Michael. You ever notice that?
No.
Yeah. That's called Mark Angels. Yeah, they always get the Medal of Honor. You get a Mark and a Michael running together in the SEAL team, something bad's
Welcome to another daily episode of I'm About to Ruin Your Day. Like and subscribe. You couldn't just let me have one nice thing. You couldn't let me have one nice thing, Internet. So let's start off today by talking about Cinnamon Toast Crunch because this story has just been everywhere for about 24 hours and it went to a place I did not expect.
get it.
So the way the story goes, you have a man by the name of Jensen Parker. He's got this photo. Cinnamon Toast Crunch and crunch tails that apparently he found inside the box. With him tweeting at Cinnamon Toast Crunch saying, "Why are there shrimp tails in my cereal? This is not a bit." This was obviously very strange, and so the company initially gave him the typical, "We are so sorry, we will look into this" reply. We see a little back and forth, and then the company follows up by saying, "After further investigation with our team that closely examined the image, it appears to be an accumulation of the cinnamon sugar that sometimes can occur when ingredients aren't thoroughly cleansed. We assure you that there's no possibility of cross-contamination with shrimp." To which Clark responds, "Okay, well after further examination with my eyes, these are cinnamon-coated shrimp tails, you weirdos. I wasn't all that mad until you now tried to gaslight me," with it appearing like they essentially want him to send the tails, but he's now kind of sketched out by them because they basically called him a liar. His other posts also show that he found a ton of other disgusting things in the box, also saying that his wife checked the other cereal bag and their family bag to later learn that it was taped up, which, side note, part of the other reason this kind of blew up is it turns out that he's married to Danielle Fishel, aka Topanga from Boy Meets World. Also, out now saying that he's gonna get the tails tested at a lab to get the and that is where I thought this story that this morning in my newsletter I described as the kind of stupid and weird I needed more of in my life ended, but apparently no, right? One, reportedly you have the brand denying that this could have happened at their facility, and two, we've also now seen a number of people speaking out about Carp. And when I say speaking out, I mean they're saying things that both make you question if this instance is real, but it also makes you question as a person. Actor, writer Rory Uphold tweeting, "This is the most abusive person I have ever been with, and I am crying as I think this." Writer Melissa Stanton tweeting, "What you may not know about the man behind the viral post. What, like he's a manipulative, gaslighting, narcissist ex-boyfriend who once told me he was surprised I hadn't killed myself because my life was so worthless?" Later adding, getting lots of texts from girls still in therapy over his terror. Writer Stephanie Mick is quote tweeting that, writing, "Haha, my quickly deleted subtweet yesterday said, oh no, I can't follow the latest viral saga because I was blocked in 2014 because I was not gracious enough after a surprise not before I was told to quote be careful or I would never work in this town again." Writer and actor Eliza Skinner also replying to Melissa saying, "You don't even have to have dated him to have paid a therapist a ton of money because of his shit." Later adding, "On the one hand, he is a huge liar, but on the other hand, getting attention for work some other rat did is very on brand for him." As well as people like Brandon Bird who tweeted, "Just FYI, the Shrimp Tails guy is both a marketing professional and someone who's lied to my face without flinching." And this is in part why I'll never be truly happy, because the moment you look past surface level on the internet, it just always goes bad. We did reach out to Carp via email for a response to all those tweets. He is not. There is a way that I can close this story. I would argue that even if the shrimp was really in that cinnamon toast, I'm still buying Cinnamon Toast Crunch. It is an S-tier cereal with S-tier leftover milk. Granted, I may have that opinion because the only other cereal I had growing up was Captain Crunch, which essentially, unless you got it really soggy, was like eating tasty Razor Blade. Bonus scrimps or not, I'm still buying that cereal. Because guess what? I don't pour bowls of cereal in the dark. I think it's a good general rule to have, whether it be your mouth or whatever, to look at the thing that's gonna go in your body before it goes in your body. Also, if you're getting riled up about any of this, it's just jokes, you dumb donkey. I'm just trying to bring back some stupid fun in this story that was supposed to make me happy and then got horrible. I hate and love you, internet. Then, in business/crypto news, we're seeing the further mainstreamification of Bitcoin. And this time, because as of this morning, Elon Musk said that people can now use Bitcoin to buy Teslas. So, Musk, who of course is the company's CEO, said that currently only US customers can do this, with the company planning to open up Bitcoin trading capability internationally later this year. Musk also adding that Bitcoin paid to Tesla will be retained as Bitcoin, not converted to fiat currency, which is very big and meaningful news, though not too shocking considering that last month they invested $1.5 billion into the cryptocurrency. You know, this is a story that stands out because there are going to be two main ways that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency in general keeps going more and more mainstream. Or you get more and more established investment firms, established companies taking cryptocurrency seriously, as well as newer companies that can figure out how to get the millions and millions of people who have not or cannot invest in Bitcoin into the space. There are people that are aware of Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, but it seems too complicated. People who just don't have the money. They're very understandable, very relatable. How do you get them involved so they're also not missing out on this? And that is in part why we're seeing companies like Lolly pop into the news, which one, kind of for transparency's sake, but also it's kind of part of the story. I'm an investor in Lolly. The news came out today that Lolly raised $5 million, and among the investors you had the likes of Casey Neistat, Brody Coates, Ray Miller, Serena Williams, and yes, Philip DeFranco. You know, equally famous and impactful Serena Williams and Philip DeFranco. But, you know, I actually threw my money into this. It's something that I believe in, and honestly, if you are not using Lolly right now, I highly recommend it. So whether you're already established in the crypto space or in if this is your first right now or after showing lollyphil.com, LOLLIphil.com, sign up, install the extension, and then just live your life. Make the purchases that you would normally make and get Bitcoin rewards of up to 30%. The average reward is 7% back. Last week, I bought a pair of Adidas shoes. Got about $18 back because I had the Lolly extension. What's kind of funny is if I had made that purchase last year, the shoes would have essentially been free because the price of Bitcoin went up. And of course, when your rewards become available, you can either send it to another wallet or you can just send it to your bank. If you don't get this, you're just losing money. Which, by the way, after your first qualified purchase, we both get $10. Hopefully enough of you beautiful bastards sign up and realize I'm one of the most valuable investors and will give me some money that I can do giveaways with. And then let's talk about some good that stemmed from some horrible. So the horrible aspect of the story is that two elderly Asian people were brutally attacked by a man in San Francisco last Wednesday. First was 83-year-old now Pham, and according to a GoFundMe page for him, was left with cuts, bruises on his head, fall, and reportedly after attacking Pham, the suspect fled and assaulted 76-year-old Xiao Shen-She, who reportedly fought back with a wooden board. Now, according to authorities, the attacks were unprovoked and the man responsible was detained by a security guard before he was arrested. He's also since been charged with 2 counts of assault likely to produce great bodily injury, 2 counts of battery with serious bodily injury, and 2 counts of elder abuse. As far as what happened with Shen, according to a GoFundMe page created by her grandson, she was left with 2 serious black eyes, one that was bleeding uncontrollably. That page saying that her wrist swelled up and she's struggling with PTSD, even afraid to leave her own home. With that campaign originally created to cover medical expenses, therapy, we've also since seen that campaign get updated, and reportedly the victim is improving both physically and mentally. The page adding, she said, "We must not submit to racism and we must fight to the death if necessary." Also adding, she stated multiple times to donate all the funds generated from GoFundMe back to the Asian American community to combat racism. And adding, she insists on making this decision, saying this issue is bigger than us. We hope everyone can understand that is a huge self-defense. As of recording this video, that page raised over $946,000, which is why Xiao Shen-She is our BAMF of the day. The next level self. From that, we'll take a second to pay some bills and thank the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Omaze. As many of you know, Omaze gives you the chance to win life-changing experience and amazing prizes, all while supporting non-profit causes. And just a quick reminder, you still have until April 15th for that chance at that beautiful Bentley. But today, we've partnered with Omaze to give you beautiful bastards a chance to win a Tesla Model S Apex Performance customized by the world-class team at Unplugged Performance. This Tesla has over 750 horsepower, an incredible 348-mile range, lowered suspension, sleek matte exterior, and custom cognac leather inside. And if 0 to 60 in 2.3 seconds wasn't enough, how about $20,000 in cash, all taxes and shipping included? And your entry isn't just a chance to win, it supports 2 great charities: 501c3, a global community embracing low carbon culture. They also created the Water Box to respond to water crisis, bringing a reliable source of clean water without single-use water. And the solar water box provides sustainable access to clean water and water regions around the world. It is a total win-win. A dream car while supporting 2 great causes on a mission to help billions of people access safe drinking water. So head to omaze.com/DeFranco. Click the link down below. Use code DeFranco. And then let's talk about potential big changes. Because many people have learned in the last 5 years, voting is about matters. Well, why there's been so much focus on the For the People Act, which is a bill that was recently passed in the House, and it's aiming to kill voting rights. And this bill includes things like expanding automatic voter registration and allowing same-day and online registration for federal elections, allowing pre-registration for 16 and 17-year-olds, so once they turn 18, they're already registered and ready. It also requires states to establish independent redistricting commissions to carry out congressional redistricting to eliminate partisan gerrymandering, requiring 2 weeks of early voting for federal elections, making Election Day a holiday, restoring the right to vote for people with felony convictions, and much more. And understand, this is not a story that just exists in a bubble. One of the reasons there's so much focus on this, right, making it easier to vote, more accessible for people to vote, is that according to the Brennan Center for Justice, there are currently 253 bills with provisions that restrict voting access in 43 states that have already been pre-filed, introduced, or carried over, right? Some of which that we've talked about on this show in recent weeks. And in addition to the fight that we're going to see over this in the Senate, we're also seeing people speaking out. For example, yesterday we saw When We All Vote releasing a letter addressed to the American people, asking them to urge the Senate to support the legislation, with Michelle Obama and Valerie Jarrett leading the letter, with many celebrities signing on as well. This including co-chairs of the organization like Liza Koshy, Lin-Manuel Miranda, Selena Gomez, Tom Hanks. The letter calling this the most significant piece of legislation to strengthen our democracy since the civil rights movement. Also addressing those many bills that can hinder voting access and saying these barriers particularly impact Black, brown, and young people. Some of these undemocratic measures have already become law, with others surely to follow. And saying of those who want to restrict voting, they're hoping to choose their voters rather than the other way around. And in addition to saying that the Senate needs to pass the For the People Act, they added, if that means eliminating or instituting meaningful reform to the filibuster, a relic of Jim Crow and an arcane chamber rule increasingly abused to create gridlock and forestall progress, the Senate should act. We cannot continue to allow the will of the majority of Americans to be overshadowed by an oppositional few fixated on maintaining power, and ultimately calling on people to call on their senators and organize so that the bill can be passed. And, I mean, as far as what happens next, it's in the Senate's hands. This morning you also had Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer tweeting, instead of the Republican Party trying to win back voters they lost in this election, they're trying to disenfranchise voters. Though, on the other side of this, we saw Mitch McConnell this morning saying that this is not necessary. This because he said, quote, states are not engaging in trying to suppress voters whatsoever, claiming this is clearly an effort by one party to rewrite the rules of our political system, but even more immediately, it would create an implementation nightmare that would drown state and local officials who run elections. This proposal needs all the scrutiny it can get, and I'm glad we're all here to give it that scrutiny, which some experts have said was his way of putting the filibuster conversation and debate back in the spotlight. And, I mean, ultimately, as far as my opinion, I think voting needs to be as accessible as possible. Right, for example, I give my employees paid time off, but I also think that Election Day should be a federal holiday. There's a whole hell of a lot of people in this country with completely different availability, schedules, job situations, etc. Having 2 weeks of early voting, I think, just makes sense. I also support anything that could try and crack down on partisan gerrymandering, because partisan gerrymandering is how you get minority rule. I don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever, it's disgusting. And finally, I think just kind of anything that provides ease of access and registration and allowing one to have their voice heard via their vote. A lot of the voting restrictions we're seeing individual states try and push through is based off a false narrative. There was this wide-ranging, state-swinging levels of fraud everywhere. No. Hey, the story and situation as it is now, in my opinion, and now, of course, I pass the question off to you. What are your thoughts here? Then, let's talk about a bunch of important international news. Starting with yesterday, we saw Israel holding its 4th election in 2 years, which, unsurprisingly, was extremely close. Right, as I'm filming this, about 97% of the vote has been counted, and they show inconclusive results. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's right-wing bloc, which is made up of a ton of parties, is just shy of the 61-seat majority in the legislature that it needs to make government. Netanyahu's own party also did very well, crushing all the other parties by double-digit numbers. At the same time, it was actually worse than it did last March, and the party's lowest turnout since 2015. Yet, even with that, his coalition only has 59 seats right now, while the opposition is also in striking distance of making a government, with it all depending on how 5 possible scenarios play out. 1, no majority government is formed, which would lead to a 5th round of elections since 2019, also leaving Netanyahu as interim prime minister. 2, the centrist party and their coalition could attempt to form a government with a center-right party that is made up of former members of Netanyahu's own party, but that appears to be unlikely because those lawmakers vowed to never work with any government backed by Arab parties, which this coalition would have to do. 3, the breakaway party could join Netanyahu's government, but due to a long list of reasons, that's quite unlikely right now. 4, the leader of the right-wing Yamina party, which was on the fence and only recently declared that it would join Netanyahu's bloc to put him at While unlikely they could double-cross Netanyahu, join the opposition, maybe they get a member of their party as prime minister. And lastly, number 5, and this is seen as kind of the most likely scenario, Netanyahu coalition manages to convince the Ra'am party, which is the pro-Arab party, to join its ranks. Now, at first glance, that seems unlikely, as Netanyahu and many of the parties in this coalition have been criticized as an increasingly apartheid-like government, which obviously puts them all in an awkward position working with one another. But the parties have all worked together in the past on some legislation in return for legislation that helps the Arab population. But as far as what is actually going to happen, I mean, we don't know, and the election is so incredibly close. In fact, we won't know the final counts until the Central Elections Committee presents the formal results on March 31st. And from there, we will hopefully see what the hell happens this time. Then, let's talk about Myanmar. Because the peaceful protests in Myanmar against the military junta who took power in a coup back in February have continued since they first began en masse 1 month ago. In total, hundreds of thousands of people have taken to the streets to demand the release of former leader Aung San Suu Kyi, as well as for the military to step down. As far as what is happening on the ground, I mean, about 3 weeks ago, the military began using more and more force to disperse protesters, and this including the liberal use of live ammunition, which has led to at least 275 people being killed so far. This including, tragically, the youngest person killed so far yesterday being a 7-year-old who was shot in her father's arms. Reportedly, soldiers entered this home demanding to know if everyone in the household was present. The father said yes. The soldiers accused him of lying and apparently tried to shoot him, but missed and hit the young girl instead. And while there have been constant protests and civil disobedience campaigns since the coup, they have varied in sizes, but it appears that this young girl's death has launched another surge of protests and demonstrators calling for another silent strike. Right? Rather than taking to the streets with this one, it's when all businesses shut down, people stay in their homes as a form of civil disobedience to shut down the economy. Also, kind of touching on that, this week we saw the United States and the European Union announcing that they have enacted further sanctions against the Burmese military and individuals who are connected to the coup. But as of right now, it appears that the military seems confident that they can maintain power, and they even released hundreds of prisoners this morning who were detained for protesting. But also, I mean, that release, it's still unlikely to calm down the protesters, who are just as vocal as ever that the military needs to give power back to a democratically elected government. Then, it's like old times. North Korea is back in the news. And this because on Sunday, North Korea launched multiple short-range missiles as a challenge to the decision between South Korea and the United States to go forward with joint military exercises. So what we saw is that just before the exercises, Kim Jong-un's sister warned the Biden administration that if it, quote, wants to sleep in peace for the coming 4 years, it had better refrain from causing a stink. And as far as the U.S. side to this, the U.S. response to this, the Biden administration has largely ignored the provocation, at least publicly, and this could be for 2 reasons. One, these were short-range missiles which don't violate UN Security Council resolutions, and according to Biden, it's business as usual. And when asked further if the test would affect diplomacy, he just laughed at the question as if we really have any diplomacy right now. And second, officials pointed out that the Biden administration is still deciding how to move forward with U.S.-North Korean relations. With one of the biggest concerns for the Biden administration is looking like they're doing nothing about North Korea if the country were to set off a nuclear test, which of course is something they have not done since 2017. But there are concerns that could happen again soon, with arms control organizations claiming that North Korea has been amassing plutonium. And so on that happy note, we're going to have to kind of just wait to see how the Biden administration is going to handle North Korea. While it's unclear exactly what President Biden will do, many top former officials have said that it will likely involve conversations with our partners. It's likely different from Trump's strategy, which heavily emphasized direct talks with Kim Jong-un, as well as possibly being different than former President Barack Obama, who refused to engage unless North Korea changed its behavior. Also, I mean, with North Korea, one of the biggest things is going to be their relationship with China. Not even just now, but moving forward. It's going to be some sort of mess. We just don't know which kind. But ultimately, with this story, and actually anything else that stood out to you today, I'd love to know your thoughts in those comments down below, because this is the end of the video. As always, thank you for being a part of my daily Philip DeFranco show. Subscribe and hitting that like button, all the good stuff. If you're looking for more to watch right now, I got you covered with that brand new podcast with Mike Birbiglia, or maybe some more news right here. And if you like options, I got those links in the description as well. But with that said, of course, as always, my name's Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love you, everybody, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Damn, that was a long one. How long was that video? 18 minutes?
So there's a lot to get through today. I'm going to cover a number of things in today's show, but I'm also not going to be able to... Welcome to another daily episode of I'm About to Ruin Your Day.
Oh, did he even have a video today? Let me find something.
So I got a message the other day in my email from a diehard 6ix9ine fan. And to be quick about it, because it was a long damn email, this dude explained everything to the T on why 6ix9ine was right for doing what he did. And then he asked me towards the end, if you were to break something like that down to the inmates in jail, what do you think would happen? Do you think he would be spared? Do you think they would understand?
Hey, do you guys like 6ix9ine? Hey, he's a snitch.
Nobody cares about his story for real. It don't even matter. Nowadays, they find out you done told. It doesn't matter how the hell you told or whatever. You could have been completely in the right or wrong. No one gives a shit.
Facts.
You told.
You're
There's certain things in
fucking
life you just can't
right.
explain. Right? And telling on
Yeah, I don't
someone, it
care.
doesn't
He's
matter
like,
how you
"They
did or
fucked
why
my
you did.
baby
You just can't
mom."
explain it in this time and age. You're in a
Beware.
lose-lose situation, man. No, so save the
tell
words
when
for
people
someone
just 'cause
else.
they had
But
sex
let
with
me
their
say
girlfriend.
this really quick. Look at that great Bermuda
Weirdo.
green grass. Damn, what did they build that shit on AstroTurf? Lucy loves AstroTurf.
What the fuck? Whoa, who's
Yeah,
this?
you guys like him or no?
Oh, sorry. I just don't remember seeing the room when I came through here. I'm just to see what it is.
Yeah, thank you.
Diablo 2. I thought that was funny.
Now you,
I couldn't just not
dude
play
did
it
him
for
dirty
watch
asking
security.
this question next. So I don't know
Watch
why
you
he
gonna
did. That's
kill me.
messed up, bro.
Hey, one more question. Hey, did you guys try Popeye's new chicken?
As you can see, we have an inmate by the name of Mr. McCarty. He was sentenced to 20 years for threatening a circuit judge and 2 dispatchers. I watched this whole trial, and this guy was disrespectful as shit straight from the jump. I mean, this guy's been saying some of the worst things you could possibly ever say to a judge. Ever. McCarty, who before has been arrested and lived in Milton and Santa Rosa County, was found guilty by a jury in August for 2 counts of threats or extortion and 2 counts of corruption by threat against a public official for threatening Warren dispatchers who answered his call when he called 911 to rail. Warren, I believe, is the judge. So this fool calls 911 and just vents about the judge. But let's see what he does when he gets sentenced to
This guy did
20
what?
years for threatening.
What a fucking idiot.
Man, that fool's reading a book. And those are the same exact slides that we had in the jail I was in. They used to leave a nasty little gummy feeling underneath your feet if you didn't wear no socks. But this dude's just straight disrespecting. Reading a book. Why is he allowed to have a book anyway? What kind of book is that?
All right, answer none, and the
drop
testimony
this.
would be accepted.
I drop
Yes.
this.
That being said, here today on 2 reasons. One is to sentence on a jury verdict that had been accepted in the court in the 2017 304-638 case. But we're also
he's getting
addressing
amped.
order to show cause, which I would like to address first.
This judge says, more than I do.
Before the court, Mr. McCarty, to show cause why I should not hold you in contempt for behavior that you demonstrated during the jury trial. You threatened the unborn child of the prosecutor.
Ooh, I didn't know he threatened her like that. Shit.
Directly in an open
What a
court.
bunch of guys, you stupid piece of
Then also
You threatened my life. You
back room.
suck my
Wow.
No, I'm not standing. Not resisting. I'm not resisting. I'm just not standing up. I'm not standing. I don't have to stand.
I'm not standing. I don't have to
That's
stand.
crazy. His face. I'm dead.
Never threatened that bitch. Bring play back the shit, you stupid mother. Yeah, keep looking at me, boy.
Keep looking at me, boy. Ladies and gentlemen, don't ever call anybody a boy like that in prison. That's guaranteed. Get your shit peeled back. But anyways, that was another little piece of information for y'all. You already know how much time he's about to get. He doesn't know. But damn, he's going to be drunk as hell when he's sitting in his cell knowing he's doing what? 2 decades? 10 years a decade, right? Yeah. Never been good at math. And my memory is fleeting by the day. But yeah, 2 decades, man, for threatening. He didn't even, you know, he just got mad probably and said some threatening, even though it was probably really bad. Can't just say anything you want, especially to a judge or on a recorded 911 line. Silly old McCarty. Look at dude down here, man.
What?
Look at dude down in the bottom. He's like, man, I gotta go next in front of this judge. I'm screwed, man. I don't know if he has to go in front of a judge. He probably just a witness or something. All right, I don't want to ruin that guy's character or anything, you know.
And additionally, because I know you can hear me in the back room.
Oh, don't you pull on me, boy. And look, they got a double-sided window. They must be snapping in that courtroom on a regular basis. I've never seen a courtroom with a double-sided window like that, mirror, whatever. Is that a hydro flask I see? Them things keep your damn water colder than the Arctic blue snow. Look at that girl, she's texting right now. Man, you don't even know what the hell I just went through. Wait till I get home, honey.
Dealing with me, that was the deal. Don't touch me, bro. Don't touch me. I love you.
Ah, no, he didn't even hit him with I love you to the guy that was like, man, shut up, boy.
No, you're not taking my fingerprints. I'm not gonna let you. That's right. Don't touch me, and don't never touch my kids. Give me my law paperwork. Don't ever my kids. Keep staring. Come in the cell and handle your business.
Keep staring. Come into the cell. Handle your business, boy. I gotta rewind it to where he says I love you to the guy when he comes out.
Don't touch me. I love you.
You know, after watching stressful videos like that and seeing someone get smoked like no tomorrow, you know, it really gets my energy off. It gets me started off on a bad day, so I got to balance it. I have to balance out the positive to the negative, all right? A lot of people have been telling me to stop doing this, but if you tell me to stop something, I refuse. I will not let you do my fingerprints, and I will not stop. Let's go ahead and just unwind after that stressful clip. What do you say, y'all?
Can't use this crossbow.
Yeah. Coffee, baby. There's coffee in it, too. There is, for all you conspiracy theorists in the comments section that keep saying these cups are props. Why am I propping coffee sips, man? Come on. Please do not forget to hit that like, subscribe, notification bell. If you enjoy content pertaining to lockup, this is where you want to be. And don't forget to go check out the new merchandise off of Teespring. I'll keep it linked and pinned in the comment section description of the video. I got new lockdown book bags, hats, mugs, I mean, you name it. Thongs. I ain't got thongs yet, but they're coming. Leopards. Now let me go ahead and give you a little bit of background before we jump into the boot smoking. 34-year-old James Adam Walker pled guilty Tuesday to deliberate homicide and kidnapping. Walker and 29-year-old Jacobson's the one who's going to be sentenced today, are accused of kidnapping DeJuan Laster of Rockford, Illinois, and his girlfriend from the Billings motel room. Prosecutors said they robbed Laster of $8,000, freed his girlfriend, and then killed Laster in a culvert in a remote area outside of the city. Walker's plea agreement recommends a 60-year prison sentence, but I believe he was sentenced to 40. And today we're going to be watching Jacobson's sentencing.
I would like to ask for your patience as I give my final testimony.
I think I need friends to play this.
In doing so, I pray that
Dewan's family will find support.
And all of a sudden, I just got really
He's about to be
hungry.
sentenced for his role in the crime of homicide and kidnapping. His co-defendant, I believe, got 40 years.
I'll go back
You know,
with
for the
friends.
most part, a lot of these individuals that have murder cases that
Diablo
they can't
2,
beat or they're already
pretty
found
much.
guilty, they know what to expect
Alright,
when it
I'm
comes to
gonna go eat
sentencing
some
day.
shit.
This
I thought I
guy
was gonna
probably
have more
seen his
energy, but,
co-defendant get 40 piece and thinks
it's
he
not.
still has a
I'm gonna be on
chance.
later.